We fly high, no lie. You know this. Pull it.
And with all that being said, I've decided to continue my athletic and academic career at the Stanford University.
Yes, sir.
Network, it means everything to me. Back when I didn't have all these offers, maybe like one or two, he was always promoting me, trying to get me on the radar, this guy, you need to look out for him. It really means, the world to me. Bacon, he's been there, like I said, since I've been small. Always shouting me out and always just trying to put me on, just give me notice more. And I really appreciate Bacon.
I mean, shoot, I was the new kid. Faison kind of was with the Ducks for a little minute. So my first year, of course, he had all the hype. He was probably by like 6'2" at 12. He was a mutant. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was a mutant. But I mean, from then you could see just the potential he had. I mean, I'm not surprised he's the number one quarterback. If you would have seen him in youth ball, you would have thought he was the number one quarterback in that class back then. So I mean, like going against him kind of like prepared you already for like what high school was. I mean, he looked like a high school quarterback around that time. So I mean, like trash talking with him. He's more quiet though. I will say that he don't talk that much trash. But I mean, like trash talking with him, going out there and hitting drills with face on. I mean, that kind of like just builds you ready. I mean, hopefully I play against him in college. I would love it.
As y'all know, this is the Sizzling News Podcast. All right, what up? How's everybody doing, man? Welcome back to the Sizzling News Podcast, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We got a jam-packed show. We should have on, obviously, Tyler Boyd from Carrollton Trojans. He should join the program in the show to talk about the latest going on with him, his process, his, obviously, development, and, obviously, the latest with his recruiting, a highly ranked 2028 DB. And then we should have on safeties coach for Sandy Creek, Ricky Boozer, as well. But, like I said, Bacon should join me here in a little bit. I know he's just getting off, obviously, work, I believe. So he should be here in a little bit, man. But we're going to get the show cranking. Again, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff, man. And y'all know where to join on Monday nights, man. You come right here to Palace, man. We going to take care of you, man, and talk about all the latest. So while we wait for Bacon, I'm going to go ahead and get my real deal spill of what stood out to me. Now, it's all over my channel, as y'all all know. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I went to Jonesboro, Lovejoy, Peach County, obviously, Northside, Warner Robins. And it was several big-time plays. But I think the biggest takeaway for me will have to be, obviously, on Thursday night. I really believe that was the tone setter for the weekend for me. And I think a star was born. Like, obviously, I don't know how his recruiting is going. But to me, I think DeAndre Stinson was a guy that really caught my eye and really went to work. Right, just continually making plays. Like, we're gonna just roll the clips here for those that are watching at home. But dude put on an absolute show. And proved that y'all need to be talking about me more. So we're gonna roll the clip. Now, like I said in my post, y'all, it was halftime. And bro had a whole highlight reel. Right? And it wasn't even just those three. It was one he had. He was going up against Amari Fountain where he was in great coverage. And Amari couldn't come down with it. I mean, time and time again, DeAndre Stinson was just making absolute plays out there on the football field. Right? So he's a guy a lot of people have been telling me about in the Middle Georgia area. Like, yo, Najeh, we need to check this guy out. Najeh, this guy needs to be talked about more. And I can see why. Dude absolutely flashed the entire game when he was out there. Right? And there was no answer. There was no answer for him. You know what I'm saying? And I really believe he should be a guy discussing more 2027. I sent them to several people that I know, you know what I'm saying, that they need to check out. A ball player, could play any of the defensive secondary positions. He's a player that needs to be on the horizon more. And I think definitely more obviously talked about, man. When you play with that kind of physicality, man, I think it makes you a different breed. So, like I said, hopefully his recruiting kind of heats up after this. But he was a guy I feel like was put on the platform, just try to put him out there, man, and try to give him some more recruitment, man. But he was one of my biggest standouts from the game. Obviously, like I said, thoroughly enjoyed being there. And I think teams that are emerging, right? Now, everybody's going to get caught up in, okay, Naj, like, are they really a good team, Northside Warner Robins, right? Like, I think it was a YouTube comment post that said, wow, Northside has really regressed. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing what has happened to him, right? Now, remember, Northside is going under a new regime, right? Coach Boone came in. This is just his second season with the program, right? So he has talent, in my opinion. He has guys like we talk about Mari Fountain, we talk about Elijah Patman, Caden Little, who's obviously the thumbnail on this post right here. He has several guys, in my opinion, that can play at a high level, right? And we haven't even mentioned KT Turner. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was injured. He was dressed out of the game, but he was a true freshman phenom I found last year, right? So I feel like it's going to take Coach Boone a little bit of time to kind of get things where he wants it at and fine-tune this team, right? But he's been known as a program shifter. He's been known as a program developer, but it takes time. And they play in a tough region that includes HOCO, TCC, Coffee. I mean, every day you got to bring your lunch pail in that type of a region. I think Lee County's in there too. So there's no days off. So, like I said, for them to make a difference this year and make a postseason, they're gonna have to upset some people. They're gonna have to win some games that nobody believed Northside Warner Robins is gonna win, right? But things like this takes time. So for those that come for them in the comments, like, give Coach Boone a little bit of time. It's just going into his second year. You're not gonna have all the answers right now. But what I'm seeing is you're seeing the talent. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. From when I seen Amari Fountain and when I had seen Elijah Patman, them boys got big. You know what I'm saying? Them boys look stronger, bigger, faster. You know what I'm saying? More athletic. Like, compared to when I seen them previous year, like, it's night and day difference between the two. And what a difference a year makes. You know what I'm saying? In my humble opinion. So those are guys I believe is going to help Coach Boone establishing, obviously, the culture, establishing, obviously, you know what I'm saying, the habits the program needs to take it, to turn it around and be a program that you obviously think about when you talk about high school football here in Georgia, right? But it takes time. Now, I ain't gonna lie. We got to see Peach County gets obviously some, you know what I'm saying, a team that's probably more on their level. Northside is a little bit, I won't say off, but not there quite yet. Peach County to me look like a state title contender. But again, we got to match them up with a team that's also on that level in 4A, right? Like a LaGrange or something like that. Like, we need to see them against one of those components. Like I said, DeAndre Stinson to me absolutely lit it on fire and showed that he should be a guy we need to talk about more. Sammy Sands, 6'5", 230, was slinging that football, making a lot of plays. Number 8 for Peach County, wide receiver. He looked good in this game. You know what I'm saying? He was making a lot of plays. Ashton Barton didn't even play. He didn't even suit up out there today or when I went on Thursday, right? So I feel like they got so many guys that could play, right? Hunter Hill moving to the inside center position, one of the better interior defensive offensive linemen in the state, let alone the country, right? So you obviously got him in the fold on the offensive line, right? Team that's building that camaraderie. And I think the biggest thing I got from the players is they feel like this team is together. They feel like this team believes. They feel like this team is willing to sacrifice. And when you have that, it puts you on the pedestal to win, a state championship, to be crowned a state champion, right? So it was a well-deserved trip for me. I enjoyed being out there in Fort Valley. They treat me like family. They got a great coaching staff, Coach Westbrook, Coach Tanner Smith. So those are some of my biggest takeaways from this. I think both teams I won't say moving in opposite direction. I just feel like, okay, if you're Peach, this is your year to do it. Northside, you're still kind of going up this kind of up climb a little bit, right? You got to figure things out. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you should win more games. You should win some games this year. I don't know if they won a game last year. If you Northside Warner Robins, you should win some games this year. You have too much talent to go 0-10 again, right? So, with that being said, I was thoroughly impressed. And I ain't going to lie to y'all. My final takeaway from this game is this felt like a fall game to me. This felt like we was in October, right before we hit region play, or we even in region play, two teams going head-to-head, smacking each other in the mouth. That's what this game felt like to me, right? Compared to what I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, didn't necessarily feel that way. So felt like the team was, kind of holding different stuff, figuring things out, deciding what they're going to do, things like that. This game felt like a fall August, or you can say fall August start to the season, or you could even say October. It felt like that. Them teams was going head to head. It was hitting. It was some great football for a spring game, and I thought it really lived up to the billing, in my humble opinion. And it was obviously a lot of fun to watch, and obviously stay tuned for, man. So thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think both teams really put it out there of what they could become, what they obviously can be. So we'll leave that there. That's my thoughts on obviously this game right here. Okay, so we're gonna go to this one. All right. So Jonesboro and obviously Lovejoy. What are my thoughts on this one? So this game felt more like this was a spring game, right? This felt more like, okay, teams is ironing out kinks. Offense is not trying to show too much. No real big plays stood out. Like it was kind of like in that tough category, right? Now, mind you, right? Shout out to Benjamin Boyd. He had a good showing in this one for Jonesboro. Coach Domo, Coach Sher, been talking to me about him for a while now. I'm not gonna lie, he did make some plays in that game, and did what he was supposed to do, man. And apparently, he's also gained some offers out of that shit. He made it. So that club alone obviously helped him out, and taking that step forward, it helped him essentially gain more offers. I won't say the two schools that offered him after this, but for Benjamin Boyd, all the thing I would say, we want to see that more, right? I thought he made some plays, but we want to see that type of dynamism. Excuse me, struggling to talk today. We want to see that kind of dynamism more, right? Because we feel like you could be one of those guys, right? When we talk about top receivers in the 2027 class, we don't even mention Benjamin Boyd. So I think he's a guy. He showed obviously in that game he could take over, because this game was really defensive. When we get into the whole nicks and crannies of this game, was very defensive. But you need playmakers like Benjamin Boyd to step up if you're Jonesboro, right? There is no John Tavis Wyman trying out there no more, right? There is no Cortez Redding on the different side of the ball trying out there no more, right? So if you are Jonesboro, you need more of these type of plays from Benjamin Boyd going forward, right? And you need him to make more of those big time catches and those big time plays, right? But I'll be honest, man. In this game, both defensive lines dominated to me. It felt like it was hard to really get a push. There was a couple big breakaway runs, but remember, one of them was on the second unit. I think both of them was on the second unit. Both starting defenses, including Jonesboro, number 15. I believe Coach told me. Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now his full name. Y'all give me 1 second. Make sure I got his name right. I'm saying number 15. Oh, I don't even think Coach put this on there. Nope. I had to ask him who 15 is, right? But 15 for Jonesboro really stood out to me. He was making a lot of good stops, run stops, creating pressure, getting his hands up, batting down passes. I felt like he did a really, really, really good job, right? So for me, I liked what he was able to do on the defensive side of the ball. Mark Manigault was obviously the linebacker number 4. He was making some nice stuffs in there as well, making some plays. I feel like on the back end, it's going to take a little bit of time, but obviously I believe they're going to lead on Michael Miller, right? He'll be a guy that will probably be the leader on that back end for Jonesboro. Probably be that guy that calls the signals, calls the reads, calls the shifts, all that good stuff, right? So not as talented as they were a year ago, but with that, it breeds opportunity, right? It breeds opportunity for the next guys to step up, right? Who's going to be next up? Who's going to make their name like the previous guys did? They're not coming back, right? That's over with now. This is a new era of Jonesboro football. So who's going to be the next ones to step up, right? So I felt like those were the standouts to me for Jonesboro. Obviously, Justin Alto. I've seen some good things, and I've seen some shaky things, right? So I think for him, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? Seen some of the good, seen some of the bad. It'll take time. Building chemistry, being the guy this year. So, I have mixed expectations for him. It's going to take him a little bit of time to figure things out and obviously what he wants to do. Okay. That's just the bottom line of it. Now, Jonesboro, on the Lovejoy side, right, I thought he did a good job of competing this thing in this game up until like later on, right? It was 6-0. I think Jonesboro had scored once, which I believe was that big long catch, if I'm not mistaken, by Boyd. They got him a 6-0 lead. But I love their defensive line. I thought they did a really good job of filling gaps and holes. Up until, like they said, they got that big breakaway run. I felt like they did really good. In my humble opinion with that. I feel like Gideon, I feel like he makes a lot of plays. You know what I'm saying? Some people might not like his stature. He's skinny. You know what I'm saying? Look, bro, when you go off to college, you have to build your body up anyway, for the most part. Even if let's say you 6'2", 205, they're going to probably want you at 6'2", 220, 6'2", 215. But you're talking about a guy that was like making plays, sack, fumble, you know what I'm saying, batted ball. I think he had probably multiple sacks. Like, he affected the game how you needed to happen. In the run game, he had TFLs. He did everything he was supposed to do to affect the game, in my humble opinion, right? So for for Lovejoy, I like the back end too, right? We put Ike on here. Ike, I felt like was making some plays as well. You know what I'm saying? That's Isaiah Osby. Just got offered by Liberty, right? Has a lot of potential. Can do a little bit of everything, right? So I feel like Lovejoy has a defense to compete. That's one of my biggest takeaways. They have the defense to compete and make plays and give their offense opportunities. The nervousness when it comes to Lovejoy is offensively, right? Now, I ain't coming from Coach Wilder or Coach Ferd. I feel like it's going to take time, but I believe, like for me, one of the big things I was talking about, and not to BS you guys can ask them yourself if you don't believe me. I say, y'all need to put number 1, which is Ike, on this graphic. Put him on the offensive side of the ball. He don't need to be no Travis Hunter. He don't need to do every rep, but he gives you another threat on the offensive side of the ball that can threaten the defense with a dig route that can go 6 like Benjamin Boyd had. Can threaten you with a deep post, right? He takes some of that pressure, off the running game a little bit, right? Now, they got some guys that can run the ball, but if they're struggling blocking or struggling to create those holes, you have playmakers on the outside like him, obviously Nick, right? Nick, you know what I'm saying? You have those guys you can get the ball to and let them do their thing. So, for me, Osby gives you another weapon. He should definitely be on the offensive side of the ball. It don't have to be every snap, but if we're passing the ball, I'm putting number 1 on the field, period, right? So I felt like offensively, they made some plays. They drew down the field, had a wide open touchdown, throw. Unfortunately, dropped, right? So there was opportunities there for Lovejoy to make some plays and obviously get into the end zone. But I feel like a lot of it was stagnant. Right, it's running, RPO game, getting out quick. Bryce Gibbs, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the quarterback for them. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, right? Because Lovejoy's replacing all those guys, all those playmakers they had last year, all those guys that came in, right? 2 quarterback system last year, right? Pretty much Bryce is the guy. So for Lovejoy, there's opportunity there. There's good players. It's going to take some time to kind of iron out. And they're a very young team. So that's why I said, like, they're a very young team. So it's going to take some time to get it to where you want it to be at if you are the Lovejoy Wildcats, in my humble opinion. So I would say overall this game, it was smooth. It definitely doesn't compare to Northside Warner Robins and Peach. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like the physicality of the game, in terms of the plays that was made, I feel like it's night and day. But for a Friday night, you want to, spring yourself watching some decent football. Jonesboro Lovejoy was not bad, but definitely you wanted to see, like, if you want to see a fall game, I think the, Peach County versus Northside Warner Robins obviously did that for you, in my humble opinion. So that's my thoughts, man. Obviously, 2 really good games. Blessed to be able to cover them. Shout out to, obviously, both coaching staffs allowing me to cover their teams, do different reports, do these highlight tapes. Was a lot of fun to put together. And man, shout out to the fans. Shout out to all y'all that are watching at home. That supported, man. Really, really appreciate you guys, man. Just trying to grow this thing into a brand. Not easy, you know what I'm saying? But I want to give you guys a shout out real quick before we move on. All right, here we go. I want to give y'all a shout out, right? Thank y'all. 623 views on YouTube. So shout out to y'all. and 1.1K on YouTube for obviously Northside Warner Robbins and Pete. So shout out to y'all for searching up the video, supporting the channel. For those that are new, man, just like, comment, subscribe. I got good content for you guys, but I appreciate y'all showing love, of course, and obviously, just being able to support the channel. So those are my thoughts on kind of what I saw in those two games, my reaction to both of those games, and what really obviously caught my eye, right? Now, as we continue to go, we had, several others. When Bacon gets on, we'll ask him about Noonan and obviously Troup County, see kind of what's going on there. I did make other stops I haven't posted yet, but I'll talk a little bit about North Gwinnett. I feel like North Gwinnett definitely, it's one of those teams, and I won't say who I told this to, but it's one of those teams I was telling the coaches, I was like, I feel like you guys get the most out of your talent, right? And when I say the most of your talent, like they play such a team-oriented caliber football, right? It's not stars, right? It is, I'm going to get this collection of talent and we're going to formulate a team in order for us to be elite. I feel like obviously that is what North Gwinnett is. Got a lot of dudes, man, young thoroughbreds coming down the pike. Veterans like obviously Max Patterson, 6'5", I think 250 plus or close to 245, 235, whatever it is. Dude is massive. Paul Cooper is another one, obviously, who's really good. I feel like Stephen Brown is going to be a high-end recruit. People are going to be talking about more at the end of this cycle. I don't know if he got ranked today for your rivals, but he's a guy I think that will get definitely more buzz and obviously garner around his name. He looked really good, obviously, there in, the spring, spring practice I went to. So I like him. They got obviously Elam Rahman. He'll be obviously the veteran for the group, quarterback, has a lot of experience, knows where to go with the football. He looked good. And obviously defensively, man, led by Jake Godfrey, right? Jake Godfrey is going to be the guy for you that makes the plays consistently inside the middle of that defense, blitzing down the box, NC State commit. He's going to be a guy I think continue to, kind of go forward for you. And then last but not least, Bryson Ford. Bryson Ford was the safety. Now, what's interesting is he started off his career playing wide receiver, ends up switching positions, obviously, to defensive back, and it ended up being a guy, for them. And they kind of moved him around this spring. They moved him around, and they want to see how he fits on the back end. And I think he's going to play that back end role for them this year, especially when you got two guys that's about 6'3", 6'4" on the outside, and you got a big 6'5" in the middle. It makes the most sense for North Gwinnett to kind of see what else they have, and maybe add some depth to the DB room with a veteran guy that's been in the system, knows the system, compared to a guy having somebody new and seeing what he's going to be able to do, right? So I think North Gwinnett will be a good football team. I think they have everything they need in order to be successful. And I think there are a team you have to monitor, you have to watch, moving forward. Now, North Gwinnett is one of those teams. You'll be like, Najeh, I don't think they're going to be all that this year. And then you come to find out, oh, wow, they won 11 games. Oh, wow, they won 12 games. They made it to the semifinals. Like, that is North Gwinnett. You'll always, like, kind of, down them a little bit. They might not be that good. And they go and they show you every time. That is North Gwinnett at its core. This is what they do, right? And they got great coaching. Shout out to Ezra Niall McCollum. Appreciate you, brother. And obviously shout out to Coach Godfrey, man, for having me over, man. But great talent, great kids, very well mannered, I would say. And I think this year, when you look at 7A, you can't forget about North Gwinnett. I think you got to throw them in that conversation. We'll see what Buford's going to look like this year. I don't know how good Buford's going to be. I have not seen them. I don't know. But I think you got to throw Valdosta in that conversation. And obviously, North Gwinnett, you can never count them out, right? And I think Parkview might be the sleeper this year, right? That might be a region championship game. We'll see when they play and all that good stuff, man. But that could be a potential region game, obviously, for them moving forward. So definitely something to think about. Definitely something to consider when you obviously think about the grand scheme of it, man. But I really like what I saw, obviously, from them. All right. So, obviously, that's the latest going on there. Let's talk about a little bit Stevenson. Now, again, I have not posted yet about Stevenson. Still got to go through my clips, which will probably be tomorrow, or it'll probably be on Wednesday. But it's probably going to be tomorrow, right? I'll probably do a double day. If I'm honest with you guys, I'll probably do, TCC, get those clips out on them, and I'll probably end up doing Stevenson, later afternoon type of a tilt kind of a thing, and putting them out there, of course, right? So Stevenson, right? hard to evaluate because they didn't have everybody, right? But Terrence Woodfin's the name that pops out to me. Now, I haven't posted him. Maybe when I post him, it might go crazy, but 6'3", 205. Nobody really knows about him just yet. I know the spring game didn't go well against South Gwinnett. Again, it is a spring game. You take it with a grain of salt, but they didn't have J2. Obviously, I believe he's running track. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have Cruz Marion, who they got out of the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't have him at the helm. They didn't have Noah Mahoney. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't there either. They did have Michael Miller, who's another one that stood out to me, playing wide receiver DB for them this upcoming year. He looked really good, and they're going to have Terrence Woodfin. I think it's going to be that thumper, you know what I'm saying, this year for Stevenson, along with a KJ Green, who's a 5-star on the defensive line that you can't sneeze at, you can't forget about. You know what I'm saying? So it's a team, I feel like offensive line-wise, probably underrated, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple guys under number 58, number 65, I believe it was, that stood out to me. But it'll take some time for it to kind of gel a little bit, kind of get it to where you want it to be at, right? Obviously, new offensive coordinator. It's supposed to look a lot different this year for Stevenson, right? But they got weapons, right? We talked about Cruz Marion, who wasn't there, Jaden J2 Johnson, Terrence Woodfin, Xavier Brenton, right? So Stevenson has that talent in order to be good, you know what I'm saying, this upcoming year. But now it's putting all of that together, right? How can you have your quarterback take the next step? I think that's the biggest question with Stevenson, right? And again, I'm not coming for Xavier Bowler, but if Stevenson is going to be a state champion this year, if they're going to be a team that goes past, semis or quarters, the quarterback has to take the next step in terms of his development. The reason I say that is when you play the Jeffersons or you play in these top teams, I got to go back and look at 4A. I don't know everybody's in 4A. You're going to have to be able to pass the ball. They're going to keen on the run, right? They're going to try to stop Jaden J2. Now, they got the weapons. They got the weapons to do it, right? We talked about Cruz Marion, Xavier Brenton, Noah Mahoney, right? Michael Miller. Like, they got plenty of weapons in order to do damage in the passing game. But can your quarterback run enough when he don't see that first progression, instead of going down and obviously trying to run the ball, can he be patient in the pocket and scan the entire field to go through a entire progression? That's the biggest question I have for Stevenson after going there for, obviously, the spring practice. I don't think the kid's not good. I just think it's in terms of that development piece for him, right? If he can develop, if he can make the right reads, if they can have a running game which sets up that play action, where you're going to have those big plays down the field to Xavier and Brinson and all those boys, it makes Stevenson a dangerous team. But again, you're going to need your quarterback not to go stare down one progression. Oh, I don't like what I see. I'm gonna go run, right? And not get happy feet, right? You don't want your quarterback to have happy feet. So that's some things I think you definitely have to kind of consider and kind of obviously watch if you are Stevenson and you're a Stevenson fan this upcoming year. Again, I don't think they're going to suck, but it's going to be real interesting to see when they go August 22nd at Morrow, Intercity Classic, how they're going to kind of look against their opponents and if their quarterback developmental-wise can take the next step. Again, not saying he sucks. Some people will say that. I'm not going to be the one to say that. I'm going to say I need to see that next step taken forward for him to kind of make that difference for them. Because like I said, you can run J2 for 2,000 yards. You can run J2 for 1,500 yards plus. He's going to do that. But you also have to be able to pass the ball a little bit too. I know this ain't college. I know this ain't NFL. But you're still going to have some balance a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. New offensive coordinator. We're going to see what Stevenson does this upcoming year and how good they will end up being. So that's my evaluation on them. Then they got good defensive players. Going to have to figure some things. Had a couple of busts, you know what I'm saying, defensively when it came to some of the routes that the receivers were running. Sometimes it was overthrown. Sometimes they couldn't quite get it to them. So that back end of the defense worries me a little bit if I'm Stevenson. But that front seven, I feel okay about. Still going to need a dog outside of a KJ Green because he's going to face a lot of double teams this year. So you're going to need somebody in the interior middle of the defensive line and the opposite edge to help. But overall, they should still be a pretty good defensive team. That's my thoughts. All right, so we talked about that. I was talking about Stevenson. Who was the most impressive on the tour, right? So for me on the spring practice tour, I think the most impressive for me will probably have to throw in Creekside. I have to probably throw in TCC. And I would probably also have to throw in probably Will Dawson. I really like those trips down there. I feel like they run different tight-knit programs that are ready to go, that perform at a high level, have a lot of potential. I really think those teams are good. You know what I'm saying? I really think those teams, they play a special brand of football. They want to be physical in the trenches. And the thing that stood out the most to me of all three of those teams and what they have in common, they have depth, right? They're playing their second string, their third string, right? And they're making plays, right? Consistently, right? Look at TCC. They had a guy on the second team, DJ White, that was making plays consistently, right? Creekside had guys on the second string making plays consistently, right? Both Dosta, Kyrie Turner, not saying he's on second string, but he's coming in as a rising sophomore. He was making plays consistently, right? So there's guys on all three of those teams to me when it comes to depth that was making plays. They probably weren't the known guys that when you think of Creekside or Valdosta or TCC, you think of TCC JB, Jabari Watkins, right? You're thinking about Prince Chi, right? Those are a couple of names that come to mind. When you go obviously to Valdosta, you're thinking obviously about Deron Foster, Marquise Fennell. Those are a couple of names that come to your mind. When you go obviously to Creekside, you're thinking Tavari Terrell, right? You're probably going to be thinking about Gary Walker, right? Darius White. Those are some names you're going to mention, but it felt like the depth at all three of those programs was the biggest thing that stood out, in my humble opinion, that made obviously a big difference. So those three was the most impressive to me. And I would say outside of those three, I think Peach County is going to be one to continue to watch. And it was a spring game instead of a spring practice, but I think they're a team that has a lot of talent. And I know they return the majority of their starters. So it's going to be interesting to see them this upcoming year. I'm going to try to go to a game as best I can. But that's going to be a team to continue to watch to see what they're going to do and see if they can actually contend for a state championship in 2026. They have everything they need in order to be successful. And I feel like this could be the year they take that step forward. You know what I'm saying? And I actually compete and contend for a title, right? Just too talented, in my humble opinion. So those are some of my biggest takeaways in terms of underrated players. I would go Sammy Sands. He was making a lot of good reads out there, making a lot of good plays. I like what he was doing with Peach County. I feel like he could be next up, 6'5", 230, 2028 class. He'll probably draw a lot of buzz around him just in terms of his size and his stature, his athleticism. He's a guy that I really liked watching, obviously, in the game. Outside of him, who else would I go? I would say, let me see. I said Sammy Sands. I would say Caden Little. I liked him. Now, what's interesting about Northside Warner Robins is they got to figure out the quarterback position was okay, but it didn't really like wow me. You know what I'm saying? I was not wowed. I thought it could have been way better, but they have some athletes on the outside, like a Caden Little, 2027 receiver, probably going to rotate in Amari Fountain. They have some guys on the outside. If you just throw it in their vicinity, they're going to come down with it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make the plays necessary in order to kind of do it, you know? So I think if you're them, you know, you feel good about that, right? But you also need your quarterback to get it there. You also need your quarterback to make the plays necessary to get those guys involved, right? So that's my concern there. I think they'll be able to run the ball, right? The offensive line did enough against a really good Peach County defensive line in order to create holes for the running backs to run through. But I think same thing, your quarterback, can he get the ball to the playmakers? That's kind of my biggest thing. But Caden Little was a guy very underrated that kind of caught my eye. I think can play at a high level and definitely should be on more radars. You know what I'm saying? But excuse me, big time receiver, 6'2", 6'3", long, athletic, made some nice plays. I feel like he's the guy that should be definitely talked about more, and definitely one that we should obviously consider, in my humble opinion, of a guy that can make a big difference and do what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So he's one to continue to watch. Any else underrated players? I would say, trying to think. Nah, I think those would be the ones. I think those would be the ones. I'm trying to think of, is there anything else that I would consider like underrated? I think I said DJ White for TCC. He's obviously one. Yeah, I think that would be it. Yeah, those are my underrated players for sure. For sure. All right. So there we go. We got that. Let me see. Yeah, we're about 35 minutes in. Appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's see what Bacon got going on because he's supposed to join by now. And then we're supposed to have a guest. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Trying to think. Okay, let's see. Any other major high school news? Well, you know what? Yep, we did see it today. Let's react to this. Hold on, y'all. All right, here we go. All right, so we're gonna pull up the rankings, y'all. See what we got popping. All right, so this is the latest rankings, y'all. Obviously, Rivals updated it today, and this is how obviously they have everything coming out. Jet Harrison, who is Marvin Harrison Jr.'s little brother, him as the number one player, likely going to end up probably at Ohio State. They have number one ranked in the country. Jelani George, I've heard his name a lot, 6'5", 240. He is the number 2 overall player via Rivals. You also got Bryson Wright. We know about him. He's been obviously in the news for quite a long time now. They have him as the number 3 overall player, number 1 player in his state, number 2 in his position. Callan Hall, Amir Sears, 2028, obviously number 5 in the country, from Columbus. Likely going to end up at Miami. Braylon Clark is another pretty good one. Asher Giotto from Bowles School in Jacksonville, number 8 player in the country. Let's see. I don't see any Georgia players at the top 10. Interesting. All right. Let's see, because Georgia had the most with 37 guys in this. Oh, Casey Barner, kind of interesting. They got him ranked as a 4-star prospect. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Was these 5? Yeah, these were 5s. Yeah, so Casey Barner is the highest rated Georgia player. You know what I'm saying? With a 4-star ranking, 17 nationally, number 2 at his position, number 1 obviously in the state. See, we see another Kevin Hartsfield. Now, this is interesting. Kevin doesn't always get the love that he's supposed to. This guy right here, but obviously runs very hard. Now, if you've been in the state of Georgia, unless you've been living under a rock, you know who Kevin Hartsfield is. But I say he doesn't get all the buzz because when you think about top running backs, I feel like his name doesn't come up enough. Right. So I like that Rivals actually gave him his flowers and actually gave him kind of that top ranking. Right. Now he's number 1 in his position. Right. That's pretty cool. 93 overall rating, number 1 in your position in the country. Right. Number 2 in the state. I love that. Right. We don't always see that. And, just for a comparison, y'all, I'm going to show you guys 247. Kevin Hartsfield. Right. And this is what I mean. While they've bumped up his rankings, he was a 3-star for a long time. Definitely for a long time. Yeah, like this is a great example. Like ESPN doesn't even have him ranked, right? Like that's what I mean. And then 247 has him number 79 nationally, number 4 at his position, number 5 in the state of Georgia, right? So for the longest, to me, he's been underrated. He has a ranking of an 88. I think guy's easily a 93, 94 plus, right? So that's what I mean. I feel like he's been underrated for quite a long time. So to see him obviously in this part, I think is great for him. And shout out to Rivals for that. Very, very, very intriguing. Now, the top wide receiver in the state of Georgia is obviously Maddox Davis, right? 6 foot 190. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, he not 6 foot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I stood up next to him. Again, I ain't coming for Maddox. Maddox can play. I ain't coming for him, but I stood up next to him, and I'm taller than him, and I'm about close to 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's that tall, but again, he's a dude. You seen everything he did this summer, the Nike opening, the Rivals the Rivals camp, the UA camp. This kid just balled every opportunity that he got, and played at a high level, man. And no surprise to see him as the top receiver in the state of Georgia. I think 2020, you look at him, Zion Robinson, Mason Freeman. Those are some of the top guys you think about when you think about best receivers in the state of Georgia. Is those guys right there. So I think it's very interesting. All right, Killer Cam tuned in. Rivals always hating on Georgia players. You can say that to a degree, Killer Cam, but I feel like at the same time, like seeing like for example, brother, seeing Kevin Hartsfield. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. Can you see that? I want to hear your thoughts, Kim. Hold on. This thing is not showing. Like, to see Kevin Hartsfield ranked that high, I think is interesting, right? And Rivals had 37 players ranked into this top, obviously, ranking. Like, I'm going to show y'all that I watch. I know I got players that follow, what I do and stuff. So, let me see. I want to pull it up. Y'all stay tuned. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up for y'all. That is Rivals, the brand. It's probably on Rivals High School. Hold on, y'all. Y'all bear with me. So y'all was tuning up the chat. All right, let me see. Okay, here it is right here. This is the post I want y'all to see. All right, so this is what I mean. Like, I get your point, Killer Cam, but they had 37 players in Georgia that was ranked on this top 300. Only other state was Texas at 43. And then they got 5 more players in Florida. You know what I'm saying? They got nearly, 22 more players than California. Or no, my bad. It's 29. That's about 18, excuse me. And then 14 from Tennessee. So I feel like 37 is not bad, bro. 37 not bad. Let's be real here. That's not bad. So, like I said, I feel like them ranking Kevin Hartsfield that high was, kind of caught me by surprise because I feel like he's underrated. I don't feel like he always gets the love. Oh, nah, bro. You good, man. Nah, hey, I appreciate you tuning in, my brother. You are all good, brother. I appreciate you tuning in, man. I like the banter, brother. I like people that comment. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. Like, that makes my job easier with things to discuss, and I can throw it to y'all. So, nah, you all good, fam. But interesting, to say the least, right? Okay, let's see. We should have Georgia. Let's see who else we got on this list. That was pretty good. Jaden Wade obviously participated in the scavenger hunt. You know what I'm saying? For IMG Academy, 6'3", is committed to Georgia. 33 national, number 3 in his position, number 5 in the state. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, he's another one. That's ranked pretty obviously high. Now, I have not seen Jalil Goley, this guy right here. I don't know how good he is. I don't know. I can't comment on that. When I haven't seen you, it's hard for me to say. If I've seen your film or any of that, I don't really know, to be honest with you. So I can't really comment. Kind of hard for me to kind of say. Now, one of the guys we're supposed to have on the show today, I don't know if he's coming on anymore, but Tyler Boyd is one. Haven't seen his film, but obviously ranked very high, 4-star prospect, 92 overall ranking, 40 nationally, 6 as position 6, obviously in the state of Georgia. So he's expected to have a big time year coming up, obviously for the Carrollton Trojans. That's kind of almost DBU in the state. They always have some top end DBs that go. Now this is Giovanni Tuggle. His rank is interesting because he's kind of dropped a little bit. Coming in, I believe he was one of like the top 3, top 5 players when this cycle first started. He was obviously on that list. So Giovanni Tuggle kind of coming down a little bit, being ranked, looks like number 7 in the States, a little bit intriguing to me. But it looks like his ranking has kind of fell down a little bit compared to where it was before. We know about Sam Walker, the interior offensive lineman for Central Carrollton, that's kind of blew up. Several big time offers, definitely from in-state, 6'4", 320. You just can't teach that. You can't put that into frame, to be honest with you. So that's obviously pretty big time, you know what I'm saying, for him, to say the least. So he's one to continue to watch, obviously, moving forward. Neiman Lawrence, kind of surprised to see him ranked a little bit lower, 62 overall nationally. He's not bad, but heard Neiman Lawrence's name is a lot, so kind of surprised to see him in the 60s. Thought I would see him ranked a little bit more higher with all the things that he's been able to do, how good he's been. Very interesting, at least. Kingston Prier, is a player that's kind of blown up in recruiting as well. Has a whole bunch of bevy of offers. Probably is likely going to stay in that state of Alabama, in my humble opinion. I don't believe he's going to sway either way. You know what I'm saying, and go out of the state. He just doesn't give me those vibes in terms of, you know, we watch his interviews or anything like that. I feel like he stays in the state of Alabama, plays for Benjamin Russell, pretty good player, and is obviously burst onto the scene. It's crazy because it feels like when you talk about Benjamin Russell, they either always have the receivers, don't have the quarterback as good, or they have a quarterback that's really good, and the receivers is kind of like, it's always a kind of a, I don't want to say drop off, but kind of like a balance. Like one guy's ranked this high, this one's ranked this high. Like quarterback, receiver can never be like kind of in unison. Always very interesting to say the least. Let's see what Killer Cam says. He says goalie and Nick Carroll very underrated. Could see them being 5 stars in this class. Very interesting. Okay, Killer Cam. I have to go watch goalie. I haven't seen them, so it'd be hard for me to kind of say, but I'll keep my eyes on both of those. You know what I'm saying, to see if they could be those type of a prospect as you mentioned. All right, let's see who else we see. I believe. Let's go back. Georgia. I haven't seen. Okay, here we go. Did I miss Prince Chi? I must have like kind of like glazed over him. Okay, now that's a good ranking for Prince Chi, and I ain't gonna lie, bro. Buddy can play. To your point, Killer Cam, Prince Chi is a dog. He is. Dude is massive, 6'3", 305. Definitely should be like in the top 30. Like, dude is an absolute wrecking damn ball. Like, different breed, bro. So it's good to kind of see him ranked that high. Dude can play. Dude can, you know, disrupt the running game. He can disrupt the passing game. So I didn't see that earlier, but I love his ranking of where he's at, and I think it's well deserved. Dude is a different breed and obviously can play at a very, very high level. So good to see him ranked number 31 in the state. My personal experience seeing him, I just like couldn't be blocked. Like, and Thomas County Central has a pretty good offensive line, but there was just no answers for Prince Chi. You know what I'm saying? I you know, like they just didn't have no answers, bro. It was just like kind of you do that Jordan kind of shrug. You're like, oh, what do we do? That's kind of what was going on with him. Kind of just, I don't know. How do we stop him? Like, you know what I'm saying? That type of ordeal was kind of what was going on. But a guy that can play at a very high level it is a problem. Is a problem to say the least. All right, so let's keep going on the list. See who else on Georgia obviously made it. All right, let's see. Keep scrolling. Let's see. We talk about Tyler Boyd. We talk about Tuggle. Talk about Walker. Kewelly Felder. I'll be forgetting about him a little bit sometimes in recruiting, but he's a guy, massive, y'all. Can play at a high level. You know what I'm saying? Do a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's a guy, seen him close and personal. He can wreck some games now. He can wreck some games, right? I think he definitely deserves more love than what he gets. 66 is not bad, but I feel like it is a little bit like a little underrated, y'all. Just a little bit underrated. I think he should be ranked definitely higher than what he is, to say the least, man. So he's a guy I think definitely with a lot of potential, and definitely should be ranked a little bit higher than what he is. But let's see who else is in Georgia. Christian Shatini, Woody. He goes by his nickname. Obviously, he'll be one to watch, man. We know he's dynamic. I think the biggest question with Woody is staying healthy. Staying from the knick-knack injuries. If he can stay healthy, Woody could be a damn problem, right? And I think you get that building being a top 90 player in the country. He is good, right? And obviously they have like Wisconsin. What do they have? Arkansas and North Carolina. I would say the team to watch for Woody that hasn't been talked about is Wisconsin. He loves some Wisconsin. And I'm giving y'all the early scoop. You know what I'm saying? Wisconsin's a team he could see himself playing for, and he really likes that program, right? So North Carolina's on here, but the team is Wisconsin for Woody. So big thing with him, they got talent out there now. They got obviously Ledger Clements, got himself. They got some really good receivers as well. Team has some dogs. Can they take a step forward in a new coaching regime? You know what I'm saying? Can they be a team that can contend in a classification? We're gonna find out. We're gonna see. But that is Woody. Nick Carroll, this is who you talked about. Killer Cam, as you obviously mentioned here. Nick Carroll, you feel is underrated. Haven't got a chance to see him. 5'10", 170. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't seen him play, haven't seen his film, but I know Toombs County. And one thing Toombs County going to do, they're going to produce some kind of defensive back. whether it's Nick Carroll. I believe they got a kid named Alex Scott, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then a couple cycles ago, they had Lagonza Hayward. Like, whatever it is, I don't know if they got DB coaches, down there, but they always produce a really good defensive back. You know what I'm saying? Always. Like, always. So that's going to be interesting. And you said, Cam, that he can do it all, right? So that tells me that was what Lagonza was doing. Lagonza was doing it all when he played in the one state championship. Receiver, DB, cornerback. That's damn dangerous. That's dangerous. Now, I got to look again. It's a new classification year. I got to go back and do my research on that. But if he can do that, and they got another DB out there, I think the name is Alex Scott. Like, damn, Toombs County should be right back in the conversation because at that point, you just run the ball, get the ball to your playmakers, man, and good luck. Good luck trying to stop it. So Nick Carroll. So from Cam, he says Nick Carroll, and he feels like goalie has a chance to be 5 stars. We're going to find out, man. We're going to find out if he is right. But Nick Carroll is a name I've been hearing, obviously, a lot. And then they have a big guy on the defensive line as well named Jamarcus Johnson, 6'5", 330, 4-star ranking, 108 nationally. Number 90 overall ranking. Very interesting to say the least. So got 2 guys. Got a guy on the back end in Nick Carroll. You also got a guy in Jamarcus Johnson who should be able to eat up the beef in the inside and be a good run stopper. So he's another name I've heard on the trail. Should obviously have a big time year for Toombs County. Then you got Nathan Holston, right? Sandy Creek. I don't know why they put Noonan, Georgia. That is not Noonan, Georgia. That's Fayette. Or right outside of Fayette. But Nathan Holston is another name making his mission a lot. Obviously, right now they have him more towards Auburn. But I've been hearing a lot about that. So now you got to think with Sandy Creek, you got multiple guys. You got obviously Corey Hadley Jr. and then Nate Holston. So 2 really good guys on that back end of that defense, right? They're going to be tried and tested throughout the regular season because they got some tough games in there, right? I believe they play North Clayton this year, if I'm not mistaken. I know they play Grayson. So they got some tough games in there before they get to non-region play and they play the usually scheduled teams. So they got 2 dogs on the back end. That makes things a lot easier. If you got a shutdown cornerback potentially in Nathan Holston, I don't know. That makes Corey Hadley Jr.'s jobs a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So that's another guy to continue to watch moving forward. Should be really good. Now, this one's interesting. Zion Robinson, right? And most people are going to be like, Naj, why did he decide to leave Stockbridge? Now, that I don't have the answer to. That I do not know. I don't have a scoop there. I'm not sure. But he's betting on himself. He's going to, obviously, McEachern, playing for a really good team. And from what I heard, McEachern is loaded. Loaded. Running back, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive back, defensive line, linebacker. Joakim Gouda's obviously in that conversation is in there. I heard they're loaded. So McEachern this year, from what I heard per sources, like they don't have no excuse. They should be a team that makes it pretty far this year. This is what I've heard per sources. Right? Now I don't know how good they're gonna be. We'll find out. But this is what I heard. Yeah, this is what I heard, Cam. So again, I ain't trying to come for nobody. I like me some Coach Reed, but this is what I heard. A couple coaches told me, Nas, I heard they got a kid from so and so. I'm not gonna name states. They got a kid from so and so, and that's so and so. I was like, okay. I ain't seen McEachern though. So what I'm gonna do though is because it's such a far drive. Because I'm on the south side. This is all the way in Powder Springs. I'm gonna see if I go to a McEachern game this year. Right, maybe a road game or something like that. I got to see it for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a team that's always had talent. I want to see them take a step forward this year. That's all. We ain't trying to come for nobody. We want to see you take that step forward if you're McEachern. Let's find out this year. We're going to find out real quick. But Zion Robinson, another guy on the outside. What is your Lil Page? What is your Corey Shockley? You got a trio right there. One of the better trios in the state. I mean, Robinson had that before with Cruz Marion, Gavin Kitchen, Mason Freeman, and himself in Stockbridge. Got another trio over there in McEachern. Very interesting. Now, we talked about Stevenson earlier, right? And again, not coming for nobody. I like Xavier Brunson. I want to see the quarterback development because you got stars on there too. You got a big 6'5", 210, probably can go up to 220 at tight end wide receiver spot in Xavier Brunson. A major pickup. Yeah, hey, I'm with you. Major pickup for the offense, right? Now, I don't know if you heard me earlier, Cam. I gave my thoughts on Stevenson, right? And I said what I thought. I like the talent. You got Jaden J2 Johnson. They got a guy that's 6'3", 205 that nobody freaking knows about. And Terrence Woodfin. Right? I haven't even posted the footage, the interview. I haven't posted none of that on X yet. Right? I don't know if I did on Instagram, but I know I did on TikTok. They ain't posted yet. Right? J2 was literally at track practice. Noah Mahoney, another receiver for them, track practice. Cruz Marion, who was formerly at Starbucks, I just talked about, track practice. And he throw in Michael Miller in there too, who's about 6'2 plus. The receivers are there. The reason I'm nervous, though, and if you're still watching, Ken, why I'm nervous, these guys mollywops, from what I heard, by South Gwinnett. Now, I ain't saying South Gwinnett, they can't play and can't perform. It's been some years since South Gwinnett's been South Gwinnett. But that's a little concerning for me. Only 6 points on the board. I know you're missing that talent. I know. But I got to see more. And I keep telling everybody, Stevenson has a state championship roster. Right? It's different between having that roster and that talent and it actually showing on the field. That's what we got to see. I believe in them. I know they can do it. I got to see Bowler take that step forward, though. And I'm not even coming from. Most people are going to say he can't play Najeh. He sucks. I'm not going to say that. I believe in the kid. Let me see you take that step forward, though. I need you to go, as I said earlier, Cam, go through a progression. Don't go one, and I'm going to go run. Go through the full progression. Be accurate with the ball. Because you got, like you just said, Cam, you got weapons. It's there. Right? I'm not going to talk about how I got there, but it's there. Everything you need is there. We got to see you go do it. There's no reason why this year Stevenson should not be in a state semifinal. And maybe even beyond that. And I know people going to say that's watching this. You might clip it. Nah, they just got whooped. I know. It's spring. Take it with a grain of salt. They should be able to take a step forward this year. You know what I'm saying? Too talented. Too talented. My thoughts on that. We going to see. Big weapon, as you said, though, Cam. Big weapon they added. All right. Who else is on this list that is from Georgia? Jay Shell, obviously linebacker position. Georgia's interested. He'll be one to watch in this class. Kingston Brown, 6'3", 270. I also got another guy out there in Carver, Columbus named Isaiah Bray. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", 250 pounds, I believe. So got some real good beef on the defensive line. Should be good again. Humbly. Major Floyd, what a great name. Safety, East Lawrence. Obviously, Tech is in that conversation. We'll see what obviously happens with that. Bryce Willingham, I've heard a lot about cornerback position. I have not been to North Atlanta, but not surprised. They produce DBs as well at a high level, and they always got look like one or two, you know what I'm saying, down the pike. So not too surprised to really see that for real, if I'm being humbly honest. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to look like this upcoming year. Will he play both sides? Because usually their outstanding DBs plays both sides for Coach Jamie All. That's going to be very interesting to see, and to say the least. All right? So you got Bryce Willingham, Elijah Tillman. Now, going with it, Grayson. I ain't going to say how many people was out, but he had some people out. Tillman was one of them. I want to see it. 4-star ranking, 152 national prospect. That's what see him play. Can we see you? I think it's week 1 or week 2. Whenever they play Sandy Creek, we're going to see you suited up. That's going to be the question. We're going to see you suited up. Very intriguing. Very intriguing. Say the least. Killer Cam. Major getting a lot of buzz. Najeh. Okay. Major Floyd getting a lot from East Lawrence. Okay. Have you seen him play? Let me know. Right? Some of these players I haven't seen him play. So, like I said, when I seen him play, I try to hush my mouth. I at least got to watch some film or something before I say anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a guy that likes to talk and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't be trying to do that. You know? So, let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying? I might have to check out this film. You know, but won't comment too much. This kid right here, he's not from Georgia, but I like him, man. Dedrick Kimbrough, when I went to Bama a few times, bro, every time I watch this kid play, bro, like, good damn luck. Like, this kid right here is a blazer. Like, you're not stopping him one-on-one. Just absolute problem. Yeah, this kid right here is a stud. He's another one of those, like, with Kingston Prier, like, probably won't end up leaving the state of Alabama. But whoever gets Kimbrough, yeah, bro, you're gonna have you a dog. I'm gonna tell you that. You're gonna have you a dog, and somebody's gonna go get it. Now, next one, Merrick Ham. I've heard a lot about him. I've heard a lot about obviously players that have played for Marietta, and I don't know how good they're gonna be. I think last year went 5-6, but it's a program, it's a team that looks like they're getting the talent to come back in the building. They're getting talent to come back into the room. And Merrick Ham's another one of those guys I feel like has a lot of potential, could do a lot of different things. And I'm hearing a lot about his name. Top 200 national recruit. Haven't heard much about him before the offseason, but he's a guy that people are talking about a lot. Whole lot. So obviously interesting to follow him and obviously see what he's going to be able to obviously do. All right. Couple more, man, before we wrap it up. Let's see. We'll say probably like top 200, top 250. Okay, now this is interesting. Zachary Bellew, right? Now, mind you, when you look at the 2028 class, prior to these new rankings, even Rivals, I believe it was, he was ranked pretty high. I think he was like the number 1, number 2 back, right? And it's interesting to see him come down a little bit, right? Number 12 at his position in the country, number 27 in the state. That's not really normal for Zach, right? But Zach, I heard he's been a little dinged up. We'll see what happens. Has all the major offers book. I think he recently picked up when I went that week. And seeing North Cobb, he picked up Texas. So the kid can play. And this year, I feel like they do got the pieces they need in order to be dynamic. Iago Gumedes, you know what I'm saying? They got Micah Billingsley. They can run the ball. Well, obviously, Zach Bellew. They got a couple other guys in there that can run the ball. They should be a pretty good team this year. I think they're going to open up with Milton. Interesting to see, though, Zachary Bellew fall so far. 180 doesn't feel right to me. 90 doesn't feel right. Feels more like 93, 94, 95. So, yeah, he kind of being slept on going to the season. Still a 4-star, but don't really feel like that matches him. Just my personal opinion. It's kind of low for Zach Bellew. Kind of low. All right, who else we got? All right, we got Malachi Dudley from Heritage Conyers. Offensive tackle, 6'6", 320, pretty big boy. Interesting to see what he does this year. Chandler Dyson. That's a name I've been hearing about a lot down there in Warner Robins. Warner Robins is expected to be a lot better this year, y'all. Expected to be a lot better this year, man. Chandler Dyson is going to be leading them boys, man. So, I've been hearing a lot about Warner Robins. They obviously have a rich tradition, rich history, and a team and a program that wins. Remember, Marquise Westbrook, before he came over to Peach, that was a team that was constantly in the state championship. Right, but Dyson 6'4", 230. They're expecting to have a big year this year. Top 200 national recruit. Not too surprised, to be honest with y'all. They expect to be a program and a team that pretty dangerous this year. So, I would say whatever classification Warner Robins is, don't sleep on them boys. The boys expected to be pretty good this year, man. Expected to do some big things, to say the least, man. Another one I think is ranked a little bit low. The Miles Tate right here from Woodward Academy, 6'3", 215. Bro really might be about 6'4", 6'5". When close to personal seen him, he didn't really practice when we went for the spring, but he's another guy I feel like a low underrated 3-star. I feel like he's much better than 3-star. Kid is massive. Now we got to see things technique-wise, how he looks and things like that. He didn't really go, but he's a guy I think more people need to be talking about. Definitely bright future ahead, and I think a guy that could burst onto the scene and be that 4-star, caliber prospect, man. Kid can play, though. Kid can play. 3 stars, a little bit low in my book. A little bit low. All right, let's see. Isaiah Knowles, kind of interesting to see him ranked a little bit low, in my humble opinion. Number 233 nationally. Now, that's another guy that can go. I think very underrated. 5'9", 180. I think he'll get bigger and bigger as the seasons go on. But I like Isaiah Knowles, man. He can go. I watched him at the UA camp in Atlanta, and he was making some moves, man. He was doing some things in pass coverage, pass catching, and getting free. I think Isaiah Knowles is a little underrated at 233. Asa Wall, obviously committed to Georgia. Really good tight end, 6'2", 235. I like that one as well. Having Searles, he kind of blew up last year. But one thing you can't replicate is that 6'5", 175 frame, right? Probably has to add a little bit more before he gets to Tech. You probably want to get him around about 200 pounds, 215 pounds before he even puts on the uniform, if I'm humbly honest. So he's going to have to bulk up, put him probably about 40 to 50 pounds before he plays in a collegiate uniform. But the kid makes plays. You go watch his highlight tape. Kids making plays, can't be stopped. Dynamic with the ball in his hands. Definitely, I think Tech was smart in offering him early and building this rapport and this relationship at a high level, man. So I think they'll definitely be a team to continue to watch for, obviously, for him. You know what I'm saying? To say the least, man. So I'm not sure what happened to Bacon, man, but I appreciate the 5-6 people tuning in. Look, for those that's watching, look, we live every single Monday night, man. About 7:15, we're going to be live. We'll see this year if we still do the panel of guests. I know QB Marcus, we had him on last year, probably the most polarizing figure in high school sports. You know what I'm saying? We'll see if we get him on there. Obviously, Julian. And we're going to try to get just expanded a little bit more, man. We're going to try to throw on Team 478. They down in the middle of Georgia area, and those are all those schools around that perimeter. And also South Georgia with Jacob Carrollton. He knows TCC, Valdosta, Lowndes. We're trying to expand the thing, man. So if y'all can, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hype up this video if y'all don't mind. That helps me out a ton. You know what I'm saying? And tell a friend, man. We want to create some buzz around this show. Again, we're not trying to just spotlight Atlanta Metro. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to hit it all. That's why in the spring tour, if y'all see me, I was everywhere. I was down South Hilton, Valdosta, in Thomas County Central and Thomasville, right? I went up to Middle Georgia this past week, right? Hit Warner Robins, Hoko specifically. When they hit the Peach County Northside Warner Robins game, we're trying to make this thing one big interconnected web. That's what we're trying to do. It hit the whole state. North Georgia, South Georgia, Middle, and obviously West Georgia as well, man. That's how we wanted to do it. But I thought we was going to have my boy on tonight, but I guess not. So that's going to do it for today's show. I will be back tomorrow. Again, if y'all want me to review y'all film, look, the film breakdowns are free, okay? But again, y'all, I got bills. Okay? I got bills. So, you know what I'm saying? I can use y'all help, okay? There is a membership in there on YouTube. I think it's about $11, $12 a month. Y'all want to subscribe? That help me out. If y'all don't want to, I got X2. Obviously, look, I ain't trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to put kids out there, help y'all out, okay? Y'all can obviously join the membership, man. Holla at your boy. I'm going to put y'all on, okay? As best I can. As many coaches that I know, I'm going to try to put y'all on as best I can. I ain't saying you're going to go D1 or I'm going to put you on with Georgia. I don't got connections to Georgia, but I got some connections around, and I will try to help y'all as much as I can. All right, so help me out, man. Join the membership. Join all that good stuff, man. And I'm here to help y'all. Love y'all. And I will see y'all on Tuesday for Telltale Tuesday. And again, you want to break down your film, I will do it for free on the channel. Like you want me to throw it on the X, just become a subscriber, man. It's only $10 on X. I think it's about $10 on Substack. And it's only about $12 on, obviously, YouTube. Love y'all, man. I'll be back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I'm going to be tuning in great content. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate the love. Hey, shout out to Top 25 Publics. Hey, we got to get you on the show, brother. Gotta get you on the show very soon, man. Very soon. We'll hear your takes. All right. Carver Columbus rapper. Hey, we already know, Jimmy. Stay tapped in for the season. And we might make a special appearance down in the Carver Columbus. Don't forget about that. Might make a special trip. But love y'all, man. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.